Did you know that even in Mexico, cultures can be different? Well, today I will be talking about a culture that I belong to, which is the culture of the state of Michoacan. Now, I have lived in Michoacan for a bit of my childhood, and today I will be talking about three specific points in its uniqueness, which include food, attire, and dance. First, let's talk about food. Now, in Mexican culture, food is very important because it is used as a way to express love, to express gratitude, and even to express forgiveness. And not only between families, but between strangers as well. And I remember when I was younger, I would often cook different kinds of foods with my grandmother when I lived with her, such as tamales and pozole. And she would often tell me that food is important because it is used as a way to connect not only with the living but also with our ancestors as well. And food is important on holidays such as Day of the Dead because it is used as a way to not only honor our family members but also remember who they were and tell stories, and it helps us connect. During holidays, my family and I make traditional dishes to share with each other. And in Michoacan, we have a dish called atole de elote, which is traditional to Michoacan. Now, every state has a drink called atole. It's part of Mexican culture. However, atole de elote, which is made out of corn, is unique to the state of Michoacan because corn is mainly cultivated in the state of Michoacan. And every time I go to Michoacan, I try to get myself some. However, it does taste different. And when I was younger, it felt like a reward that I would get after school because I would go with all my friends. And now, anytime that I think of it or whenever I go, it feels different, maybe because I don't live there anymore. Now, when I first moved to the US, it was definitely a struggle because although I did find Mexican friends to connect with, finding someone who was from my state and knew my culture specifically was definitely a challenge. But food always made that transition easier because I didn't feel like I was far away from home. And whenever I was feeling down, my mom would make corundas, which reminded me of my grandpa because those are his favorite. And corundas are like a triangle shaped tamal which originate from the state of Michoacan. Now, in Michoacan, they are moist and they are wrapped in green corn leaves. And now I try to make it for my family as a way to remember Michoacan. Next, let's talk about attire. I love to wear my traditional attire every year on celebrations. However, since my parents are from two different states, my mom and I are from the state of Michoacan and my dad is from the state of Jalisco, my traditional attire sets often look very different. Now, in Michoacan, our traditional attire sets are called waris, so when we wear them, we're called waris. Now, waris wear a embroidered blouse along with a patterned skirt, a belt that's often made out of ribbon, and a rebozo, which is also known as a headscarf, and an embroidered apron. Then our hair is braided into two braids, and each each section has a ribbon bow that is tied in between. And traditional attire can even vary depending on the city. So in my city, our hair is braided into two braids and then it has ribbon bows tied in between them, looking like this. And in many surrounding cities, it is braided into their hair, often looking like this. Now in Jalisco, where my dad is from, the traditional attire is called escaramuenza, and it is a folklorico type dress because folklorico originated from the state of Jalisco, which looks like this. Now, in the state of Michoacan, we often wear our attire on the 12th of December along with the New Year celebrations. Now, my whole family would wear our traditional attire and go to the celebrations, and this is a picture of us. And when I was younger, my grandma would tell me that different flowers have different meanings, and she would often sew flowers onto my blouse and my skirt as well. Now, some flowers represent states, such as national state flowers, and others represent things such as good luck. Although I don't live in Mexico anymore, I still wear my wadi attire every year. I wear it to New Year celebrations and I wear it on the 12th of December. Helps me remember of the times when I used to go to New Year celebrations with my whole entire family. We would all wear our traditional attire, including the men. And this is a picture of my whole family with the men, well, the little boys, and they're wearing their traditional attire. My grandma still sends me my traditional attire. She sends me blouses that are embroidered with flowers on them, and she sends me skirts with ribbons at the bottom. And it helps me remember of the times when I used to go to New Year celebrations when I used to live in Mexico. Lastly, let's discuss dance. Now, in my culture, dance is very important because it helps us tell stories. Dance is used to express feelings such as love, sadness, happiness, disgust. And when I was younger, I danced folklorico in Mexico. And although it originally comes from the state of Jalisco, every state, including Michoacan, has its own dances and dresses that go along with it. And I remember when I was younger, my grandpa would help me practice for my recitals that I would go to and my performances, and he would try to teach me new ways of doing new dance moves. And when I first started, it became fun, and I started to do it as a hobby because I fell in love with it. However, and I did dance folklorico for a few years. However, I eventually quit just because when I moved to the US, it wasn't fun anymore, especially without my family members. And learning dances from other states wasn't quite as fun as I thought it would be, and wasn't used to them either. Now, dancing is a very important thing not only in my family but in Mexican culture as well. And growing up, I remember my mom telling me stories of when she used to dance as a kid, of when my mom would go to traditional events and she would dance in bailes such as el baile de los viejitos, also known as the dance of old men, and the New Year's festivals. And although I don't dance anymore, I'm glad that my family still dances, including my younger cousins who all dance folklorico at school. Today, I shared a bit about my Mexican culture, more specifically, my Michoacan culture. Today, I went over the uniqueness of the state of Michoacan and how Mexico has different subgroups. Now, today, I shared Michoacan's uniqueness in terms of food, attire, and dance. Now, if you ever want to talk to me about Mexico or state of Michoacan, I would be happy to help.